So we talk about blockchain and crypto and the regulations that are taking place, but not we also talk about not all regulation is bad and not all regulation is good. It's important to understand what are some of the pitfalls or the risks in the crypto market, where do those risks come from, and what regulations can be made, especially if you're in the role of the SEC or a regulator and your job is to protect your constituents, the retail investors, if that is your job. Then what regulations would be there to benefit them? Because there are regulations. We've talked about this in other videos on different regulations that have taken place, that some regulations can actually hurt retail and benefit institutions. So it's kind of haphazard. Crypto regulations could definitely be a detriment to the market cap or the growth or the price action, so to say, so if of the cryptos in the future, the regulatory environment, I guess.
Yes, and I think that there's a concept in economics called regime uncertainty. Robert Higgs has written about it, and one of the times it pops up was during the New Deal era, programs being created and new taxes and new bodies that were in charge of making big decisions federally for business, and it created this period where investors were nervous to put any money to work, and all these new programs were supposed to be part of the New Deal, and they were kind of countering the Great Depression and supposed to kind of boost the economy, but it had a counterintuitive effect of blunting investment because people they're nervous about, well, if all these big changes are underway, what's coming next, and what is all this really going to mean? What's the final picture going to look like? And so it created a risk, the uncertainty risks of new laws, and that meant that, and then the economy took a little bit of a dip after that. There was supposed to be a bounce, and it turned into be like a dead cat bounce, and you saw a further contraction in investment. And so I think we should maybe bring these lessons into the current.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's part of this video. We're talking about the regulatory environment and what haphazard regulation could be. Well, we talked about Silvergate in our other videos and what's going on the banking side. And we talk all the time. We do the updates on the Fed and what's going on the macro side with interest rates and liquidity. And what we're kind of seeing, that's the whole point of why you subscribe to the channel and you like this channel, because we like to put together all of what's going on for a macro picture, what's going on with the Fed and what's going on in the world with war and sanctions, and how that's going to affect investment in the dollar. What's also going on with layer ones and proof of work, proof of stake developments, layer twos with applications, with growth being on Ethereum, different smart contracts, the latest development, the 4337. So put it all together. And sure, right now, you mentioned this before, probably a bunch of regulations is going to have a little bit of a negative impact on prices in the short run. I mean, regulation almost has to be a little bit haphazard in an industry that's so little understood. You're going to have some bumps and bruises. So it looks like, with all the news you hear with Gensler and the SEC and different reports coming out, that whether it's necessary or whether it's all going to be helpful or good, there are a wave of regulations coming out. And when you look at what the Fed's doing with interest rates, and you look at just where the economy's position right now at large post Silvergate, it looks like we are in a position for some more consolidation and a little bit more of a dip. But it's kind of all these things happening at a perfect storm in a beautiful way. You want to flush out the bad money. You want to flush out the malinvestment, and you want to have a clear playing field on what the rules are before the next bull market. So while all this regulation may have a temporary impact, and some things are called securities, and these things sell off and these things dump, which is going to happen. And you have the markets need to kind of shore up and get in a better position before any easing can take place. It's a better footing for growth. So these things are kind of happening at the right time together, really.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have some shocks, let's get it over with. right? Let's do it
Yeah,
all.
let's
Let's
get
get it all done now.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Let's get all done now. Let's get the shock out of the banks, get the regulatory shocks. Let's get all those shocks to the system, and then let's get ready for what lies ahead, the beautiful changes that lie ahead post regulation, right? But on that topic, we move on. So regulation, good and bad regulation. What are the stories? If you're following blockchain and crypto and you're reading the news and you want to understand what's really happening, here are the stories. Where is regulation needed by the regulators? Where we've always needed them. Your Enrons, your Bernie Madoffs, your FTXs, your Silvergates. These are financial institutions, intermediaries that have rules to their collateralization and the derivatives and the exchanges that they can make. These are the ones that put retail at risk. When you look at Ethereum or Bitcoin or these blockchains, Avalanche, these are new technologies that are separate from these companies that are offering retail or institutional investors access to these new technologies. So an educated and enlightened and healthy constituents or leadership when it comes to regulation would be focused on not coming out with regulations that slam the blockchains themselves. Meanwhile, the institutions that cause the problems are not the big story. And it should be more focused on, okay, Gemini, Kraken, Coinbase, the next company that comes out to offer crypto assets to institutions. We have these requirements for your collateral because of the volatility. We have these requirements for what you report or what you offer your retail investors. It should be focused on that, because if you do that, not only will you achieve what you want to with your regulation on using your authority and your understanding to determine what's a better product and what's safer and what's healthier, but you'll also allow for the market to fix itself and allow those other protocols to continue developing. They'll see which chains and which products are more valued, and you'll so regulation on the intermediary side, and less so on the technology side. I mean, have regulations that would turn people like you and me, well, who stake a small amount on a proof of stake network to see if this is going to be the future technology that applications are being built on, or mining Bitcoin, which is what most people in the ecosystem are taking huge risks with small amounts of capital in hopes that they are supporting it, when you understand how it works, the future development of the roads, of the virtual roads that people are going to be using for transacting or sending information. So being a part of that ecosystem, and there's a lot that's given up in time and energy and risk in the process. So it would
no guarantee.
Nice.
No guarantee of profit. I mean, everybody would always like, to hope that that's what happens, but it's not a guarantee by any stretch. In fact, history
unless
says
you're
it's
lucky, I
probably the
guarantee you, you're
opposite.
gonna. That's what I'm about to say. I guarantee you, if you're getting into blockchain and you're learning how to participate, I mean, it's like any other school or education. You're gonna pay your dues and take your lumps, and unless if you get into it at a time where you just press a button and you don't have to worry about something, but missing your private keys, sending to the wrong chain. Can you remember the days of sending something to an address on the wrong chain, and then it just being forever? There's no one to go to say, oops, I made a mistake. Can I get this back? I mean, a lot of bumps and bruises along the way of people learning how to build and use and participate in these exciting ecosystems that are being used. And we've actually got some articles talk about that. But okay, so regulation, it does lie ahead, but the good news is when the dust settles post-regulation, there's going to be even better opportunities than ever before, because you and I, we've been following blockchain and crypto for years. And when can you ever look at a time where the prices were depressed because the market was down, not hyped up. It's not hyped up. The markets are depressed right now. Silvergate's crashing, the Fed's raising rates. So we've got depressed markets. And yet, unlike years ago when the mainstream and everyone was talking about, oh, this is just a fad, it's all junk technology. Now you got IMF, Bank of International Settlements, you've got governments talking about this is security, this isn't. Now we're in a time, in a landscape where it's clearly a technology that's being adopted and moving forward and is the future.
Right.
There just isn't the funds and the liquidity and the resources or the development to pour into it all right now. So it's a great time to subscribe and hit the like button and get the latest of the macro picture and developments and the blockchain developments and what's happening, so you can take advantage of those beautiful opportunities. And not financial advice, but great educational information. Hope you enjoyed that clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscription, notification bell if you want to get the latest drops. Of course, all of this is educational, entertainment information to help you in your journey, learning more about blockchain and how to participate. None of this is financial advice, investment advice. However, if you'd like to learn more about blockchain and crypto, we've got plenty of videos and playlists as well that walk you through DeFi tutorials, how to get involved. And if you'd like some more one-on-one help, check out our website, wisebeyondbitcoin.com. We've got plenty of free resources for you to scroll through and check out in your journey, your blockchain crypto journey. Of course, you can also drop us a line. Let us know what you'd like to learn about. Time is money. Knowledge is power. Benefit from our experience. Let us know what you'd like to learn more about. We'd be happy to help you. Until the next time, have a beautiful day. Namaste, y'all.